I hope you all have had a drink because this is not a time for drink now. And for a reason, you will see. The topics at dinner were his sister's American-born twins, the real estate prices in Beijing and in the coastal city where his parents were purchasing a waterfront condo, and the inefficiency of their newly hired housekeeper. Only when his mother had cleaned away the dishes did she ask, as though grasping a passing thought, if Boyan had heard of Xiaoai's death. By then, his father had gone into his study. That he had kept in touch with Xiaoai's parents and had acted as a caretaker when illness and death had beset their family. This, Boyan had seen no reason to share with his parents. If they had suspected any connection, they had preferred not to know. The key to success, in his parents' opinion, was the capacity to selectively live one's life, to forget or not to remember, to untangle oneself from the lesser and irrelevant of others, and to recognize the unnecessariness of human emotions. Fame and material gain are secondary, though unsurprising, if one is able to select a portion of one's life to live with impersonal wisdom. For this belief they had, as an example, Boyan's sister, who was a prominent physicist in America. So I heard, Boyan said. His mother returned from the kitchen with 2 cups of tea and passed one to him. He cringed at her nudging the conversation beyond the comfortable repertoire of their usual dinner topics. He showed up whenever she summoned him. The best way to stay distant, he believed, was to satisfy her every need. What do you think, then? His mother said. Think of what? The whole thing, she said. One must acknowledge the waste, no? What waste? He asked. Xiaoai's life, obviously, his mother said, adjusting a single calla lily in a crystal vase on the dinner table. But even if you take her out of the equation, others' lives have been affected. What others, Boyan wanted to say to his mother, would be words of a moment of her thought. The chemical found in Xiaoai's blood had been taken from his mother's laboratory. Whether it had been an attempted murder, an unsuccessful suicide, or a freak accident had never been determined. Within the family, they did not talk about the case, but Boyan knew that his mother had never let go of her grudge. Do you mean your career went to waste? Boyan asked. After the incident, the university had taken disciplinary action against his mother for her mismanagement of chemicals. It would have been an unpleasant incident, a small glitch in her otherwise stellar academic career. But she insisted on disputing the charge. Every laboratory in the department was run according to the outdated regulations, with chemicals available to all graduate students. It was a misfortune that a life had been damaged, she admitted. She was willing to be punished for allowing sweet teenage children to be in her lab unsupervised, a mismanagement of human beings rather than chemicals. If you want to look at my career, sure, that's gone to waste for no reason. But things have turned out all right for you, Boyan said. Better, you have to admit. His mother had left the university and joined a pharmaceutical company, which was later purchased by an American company. With her flawless English, which she had learned at a Catholic school, and several patents to her name, she earned an income 3 times what she would have made as a professor. But did I say I was speaking on myself? She said. Your assumption that I have only myself to think of is only a hypothesis, not a proven fact. I don't see anyone else worth of your thought. Not even you? What do you mean? The weakest comeback, Boyan thought. People only ask questions like that because they already know the answer. You don't feel your life has been affected by Xiaoai's death? What answer did she want to hear? But you get used to something like that, he said. On second thought, he said, no, I wouldn't say that her case has affected me in any substantial way. Who wanted her to die? Excuse me? You heard me right. Who wanted to kill her back then? She didn't like the kind who would commit suicide. There's certainly one of your little girlfriends, I can't remember which one, hinted at that. In rehearsing scenarios of Xiaoai's death, Boyang has never included his mother. But when does any parent hold a position in a child's fantasy? Still, that his mother had paid attention and that he had underestimated her awareness of the case annoyed him. I'm sure you understand that if, in all honesty, you tell me that you were the one who poisoned her, I wouldn't say or do anything, she said. This conversation is purely for my curiosity. You were abiding the same code of maintaining the coexistence between two strangers, and intimacy, if their arrangement could be called that, cultivated with disciplined indifference. He rather liked his mother this way, and knew that in a sense he had never been her child, nor would she, in growing old, allow herself to become his charge. I didn't poison her, he said. I'm sorry. Why sorry? You'd be much happier to have an answer. I would be happier too, if I could tell you for sure who poisoned her. Well then, there are only two other possibilities. So, do you think it was Moran or you? He had asked himself the question over the years. He looked at his mother with a smile, careful that his face would not betray him. What do you think? I didn't know either of them. There was no reason for you to know them, Boyang said, or for that matter, anyone. His mother, as he knew, was not the kind to dwell upon sarcasm. I never really met Ru, she said. Moran, of course, I saw around, but I don't remember her well. I don't recall her being brilliant, am I right? I doubt there's anyone brilliant enough for you. Your sister is, Boyang's mother said, but don't distract me. You used to know them both well. You must have an idea. I don't, Boyang said. His mother looked at him, rearranging, he imagined, his and other people's positions in her head as she would do with chemical molecules. He remembered taking his parents to America to celebrate their 40th wedding anniversary. At the airport in San Francisco, he had seen an exhibition of duck decoys. Despite a 14-hour flight, his mother had studied each of the wooden ducks. The colors and shapes of different decoy products fascinated her, and she read the old 1920s posters advertising 20-cent duck decoys, using her knowledge of inflation rates over the years to calculate how much duck would cost today. Always so curious, Boyang thought, so impersonally curious. Did you ever ask them? She said no. Whether one of them tried to murder someone? Boyang said no. Why not? I think you are overestimating your son's ability. Do you not want to know? Why not ask them? When? Back then or now? Why not ask now? They may be honest with you now that Xiaoai is dead. For one thing, Boyang thought neither Moran nor Rui would reply his email. If you are not overestimating my ability, you're certainly overestimating people's desire for honesty, he said. But has it occurred to you it might have only been an accident? Would that be too dull for you? His mother looked into her tea. If I put too many tea leaves in the teapot, that could be considered a mistake. No one puts poison into another person's teacup by accident. Or do you mean that Moran or Rui was the real target, and poor Xiaoai happened to take the wrong tea? To think, it could have been you. My drinking the poison by accident? No, what I'm asking is, what do you think of the possibility of someone trying to murder you? The single calla lily, his mother's favorite flower, looked menacing, unreal with its flawless curve. She blew lightly over her tea, not looking at him, though he knew that was part of her scrutiny. Was she distorting the past to humor herself? Or was she revealing her doubt? Or was the line between distorting and revealing so fine that one could not happen without the other? For all Huoyan knew, he had lived in her selective unawareness. But perhaps this was only an illusion. One were not to have the last word about one's own mother. He admitted that this thought had never occurred to him. It's a possibility, you know, she said. Why would anyone have wanted to kill me? Why would anyone want to kill anyone, she said. And right away, Boyan knew that he had spoken too carelessly. If someone steals poison from a lab, that person intends to do harm to another person or to herself. For all I know, the harm was already done the moment the chemical was stolen. And I'm not asking you why. Why anyone does anything is beyond my understanding or interest. All I would like to know is who was trying to kill whom. But unfortunately, you don't have the answer. And sadly, you don't seem to share my curiosity.